Hello, and welcome to another episode of Soul Pathways and Divine Adventures podcast. Today, I'm so excited to have with me Michelle Poole. She's the owner of Reclaim Balance LLC in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So, welcome, Michelle.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm very excited. So, I just want to, give you a moment to introduce yourself in your own words and just kind of tell people a little bit about what your business is all.
Okay. Well, I'm a wife and a mom, and I grew up in a large family. I lived on a dairy farm most of my growing up years. I absolutely loved being on the farm, and I love animals, and I still do to this day. I love nature. Um, Reclaim Balance came about because, well, let me think, 2018. Came about in 2018, and it was an interesting trajectory that got me there. It wasn't anything that I was even looking at doing. It wasn't something that I had been after for years. I was introduced to energy work in 2014, and I was a client of it for 4 years, and it was so impactful in a positive way in my life that in 2018 I decided to open my own business, um, and share the modality with others because I found it so um, just so impactful in my life. That's how it came to be through my own experience with it. My own experience with it. And actually, I was just thinking the other day, somebody had asked me some questions about how I got started and in energy work and things like that. And I said, well, I started in 2014 as a client. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's 10 years ago.
Isn't it amazing how fast time flies? It's like, oh wow, here we are 2024 already. So you actually had like an energy sound session, therapy session, and that's what got you into it.
Yes,
Was it
and I didn't know anything about energy work in 2014.
okay?
I knew absolutely nothing. It was completely foreign to me, the concept. I've never heard of it. But I
Yeah.
had come up upon a very, very stressful situation in my professional career. And I honestly I did not know what to do. I was just so absolutely stressed out beyond myself. And a friend of mine, it's just interesting how synchronicity works. I mean, if something is meant to be, it's meant to be. That I am a true believer in that. And a friend of mine had run across energy sound therapy. She experienced it. She called me because she knew what I was going through and said, "Hey, you've got to try this. I cannot explain to you why it works, but I felt amazing after. You've got to try it because I know what you've been going through." And I was like at a point where I was willing to try anything. So I made the appointment, went in, and the lady, Bonnie, was amazing. She's absolutely amazing. And she tried to explain to me what energy sound therapy was at my first session, but I was in such a state of stress and anxiety that I wasn't absorbing. I wasn't,
Yeah.
following what she was saying. And I just, I trust you. Just do what you do. And I walked out of that session, and I just felt phenomenal. It felt like a load of bricks had been lifted off my shoulders. When I thought of the situation, I thought about it differently. It was truly amazing. And I thought to myself, well, if one session can do this for me around something at work, what can it do for me in my personal life? Because I had been really struggling in my personal life, looking for a way to help me through how to process a trauma I had in my childhood, and I knew it was affecting me. I knew I had to deal with it. I just did not know which how to take care of that trauma. And so I went back and I started having sessions on a regular basis. I became a client, having sessions on a regular basis, and through the next 4 years, I worked through a lot of that with the help of energy sound therapy. And in 2018, it was like, yeah, I have to do this. So.
Oh my God, that is so amazing and so inspirational. Like just to know, like there's different modalities out there, but finding the
Mhm.
right one that works for you. And a
Yes.
lot of times, like you said, we stumble upon those by
Mhm.
suggestion from someone and we take a chance. So can you explain like what a session includes or like what happened with you in your sessions or what your clients experience?
Sure. So, with energy sound frequency therapy, when I say I do sound therapy, A lot of people say, oh, the singing bowls. A lot of people are familiar with the singing bowls in group settings, and those are amazing. I've experienced that as well, and those sessions are truly amazing. What I do is it's one-on-one in a private session, one-on-one, and the client can tell me as little or as much as they want with what they have going on through that conversation, or as much as they want to tell me. I pull out frequency cards. I utilize frequency cards. So each frequency card has an emotion on it with its own unique frequency. So everything around us is energy, including our emotions. Okay, we give the emotions a name, but our body recognizes it through its frequency. So I pull out these frequency cards or these different emotions that I hear may be in play for the client. They lie down on their back, fully clothed, on a massage table. And I take those frequency cards, turn them upside down, and I place them one at a time on top of their stomach, and I muscle test each card. Depending on what the arm does, if it's weak or strong, tells me whether it's a yes or a no, meaning that that frequency is present or it isn't, or that emotion is present or it isn't. And I make my
Wow.
yeses and my nos. And I take my nos and set them aside. I take the yeses, still leaving them upside down. So I don't know what emotions are in that yes pile. And then I drill down through muscle testing what the priority emotions are. Basically, what are the root emotions today that the body wants to deal with? Through that, I flip them over once I have those. I flip them over once I have the priority emotions. And then I go and find out what frequency is needed to release them, where the speakers need to go on the body, and how long the speakers need to stay there. So the speaker on the body indicates, where the speaker is placed on the body indicates where the energy of those emotions are being stored. The frequencies are proprietary frequencies that are loaded on a laptop that I then play through the speakers. So that's basically what it is, the 5,000-foot flyover. That is the premise of
Level view of
everything.
what happens,
That's
basically.
the high level view. Afterward, usually a session runs for an adult, it'll run between an hour and a half. Once the session is done, I take the speakers off and I retest all the cards to make sure everything cleared. At that point, I have a conversation. I ask the client to go back to the situation. If we're working on a specific situation, and see if it feels any differently when they think about it. 99% of the time it does. They'll say, well, it's hard to bring it to mind, or it feels a lot lighter. I don't feel as much emotion around it,
Okay.
which is, what we're trying to do. We're trying to lift those heavy emotions off
Right.
or off the body so that we can process them and release them and let them go. So it assists the body in working through those emotions and just lifting those heavy emotions off enough for us to think clearly and process the situation.
Awesome. So a few things I picked up on in that. So how big are the speakers that you put on someone's body?
They're not very big. I'm thinking I have two different sizes. The bigger
Okay.
ones are probably about the size of an average fist. They're not heavy.
Okay.
They're not heavy. They're lighter. And then I have pillows. They call them pillow speakers. They're flatter speakers, and they're probably a little bit bigger than a $50, probably. Yeah.
Okay. So is the client like laying down on a massage table, or are they sitting up, or is it any way they want, or how does that work?
Normally they lay down if they can lay down.
Okay.
They're laying down. If they need to sit up, they can.
Okay.
But yeah, we make the client as comfortable as possible. So either sitting or laying, most of the time laying if they can. Mhm.
Good. So, and I love that you brought up the fact that you're trying to pick up on the emotions of what they're going through today. And I
Mhm.
think it's important for people to understand, especially with any modality of healing, it's not a one and done.
Right.
Whatever those that is today, you're trying to clear and help them today. That could all change next week or the week after or months from now, depending on what they're going through in their life. And I think that's the biggest thing with energy work that people don't understand is like our lives are continually changing. So is the energy continually changing.
Right. Right. And one of the most common questions I get at the end of a session is, well, how many times do I need to come back? Well, that's really up to you. How are you feeling? Let this session integrate for a few days to a week and see how you're feeling about things, because the body will only release as much as it is safe to at one time, at one session. So that may mean you may release it all and you're good. Or, it's going to take 2 or 3 times for the body to say, well, we need to take this in increments because it's a little bit, it's a lot to process. And everybody is different. Everybody processes the sessions differently. Everybody stores their emotions differently. Everybody releases at a different pace. So it really is individual. It is really up to the individual. And I empower them to say, just pay attention to how you're feeling. You are going to know if it's based on how you're feeling, if we everything released or not. And if not, call me up again and we'll do it again. So the other thing that's interesting too is I'll have clients come in and say, I'm just so angry. I know it's anger. I know it's going to be anger, and we'll go through and do the session and I'll have anger in the cycle in the deck of cards or the frequency cards that I'm laying on them. But I'll also put in anxiety. I'll put in fear. I'll put in all these other ones because people may say they're angry and they may feel angry, legitimately feel angry, but the root emotion could be anxiety. Some people's anxiety presents as anger, and some
Mhm.
people's anxiety or anger is really fear. So they can say they're angry when they're really scared or frustrated, so that's the beauty of muscle testing and the frequency cards is consciously we may be saying I'm angry, but in reality the body's going, no honey, you're anxious. You're really anxious. That's what we have to tackle. So that's the beauty of taking the conscious mind out of it and doing the muscle testing.
That's awesome. And now you talked about, do you create your own music for this, or you get music especially for each muscle, or how does that work with the music?
No, it's I have frequencies A through O and they're all different megahertz.
Okay.
And they're proprietary, loaded on a laptop. So I'm part of Rediscover Yourself. I
Okay.
was trained through Rediscover Yourself. So they have the proprietary frequencies. And when you're trained, you get those proprietary frequencies loaded on the laptop. And through muscle testing, in the session, once we have the emotions identified, one of the parts is identifying the frequency through muscle testing, what frequency is needed to release that emotion. So it
Nice.
pinpoints what level of frequency is needed. Mhm.
Okay, that is really cool. That is just amazing. So you said in 2018 you decided to do this.
Yes.
Yeah. So I know it was because of your experience and how it worked on you, but was there any other driving factor to go, I have to do this?
I really wanted to help other people because I had struggled so much for so long with my trauma that I knew there were other people out there that I could help, and I just wanted to see what I could do and how I
Mm,
could assist others. That really was at the core of why I was doing it.
okay.
It was just such a tremendous. It was just such a tremendous turnaround for me. Like I don't know who that person was in 2014 when I started doing energy work as a client. And it has just grown since then. It's like, my path started in 2014, but I've learned so much in the last 10 years. And at my core, I just really want to help other people know that there is, if it resonates with them, because like you said, there's so many different modalities out there now. You need to find what
Mhm.
resonates with you. But there is so many tools out there
Right.
and I just wanted to help people.
For you. So in 2018, you decided you're going to go forward. So taking it from concept to reality, like, can you explain a little bit about how it all happened and how your business came to be where it's at today?
That's an interesting
Yeah,
question.
we might be here for hours, right?
Oh my goodness. It's funny how things like that work for me. It's almost like so the 4 years that I was a client, Bonnie from Rediscover Yourself, had been poking me a little bit every once in a while. You should be trained. You would be really good at this. You'd be a really good practitioner. You should do this. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I don't think so. Then I don't think so. All of a sudden, I don't know what happened at the end of 2017, beginning of 2018, but it was just like a switch flipped. That's how I can explain it. A switch flipped. And I'm like, no, I want to do this. I want to do this. And I knew nothing about how to start a business, how to create an LLC, what I wanted to use for my bookkeeping, all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, like Bobby, honest to God, I don't know. Like once I decided I was going to do it, it was just like boom, 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 boom. It was just like the answers I just did it. I just did it.
They
I
just start
figured out
coming, right? And you're
it
like,
just
everything else will fall into place.
everything just fell into place. I was like, no, I'm going to do this. It was just like this knowing. And
Yeah.
that always sounds a little corny to me, but it's so true when I hear myself say it. It's so true that it just happened. Like the switch flipped, and it's like, I'm supposed to do this. And like
Yeah.
I said, everything just fell into place once I made that decision. Um,
Right.
and building my business, it was just, um, I just started reaching out to people. I just started working on people. I just started talking about it. I just started having little seminars, and really, my biggest advertisement is word of mouth. So I just started kind of putting myself out there, and that was a stretch for me. That was out of my comfort zone. If
Mhm.
anybody knew me 2014 and prior, I'm more on the introverted side.
Yeah.
I don't like getting up and talking in front of people, but I don't know if it was through the energy sound therapy work. When it comes to talking about energy work and what I do, I am suddenly not so introverted anymore. I can talk to just about anybody about it. So, I just think it just for me it just feels like where I'm supposed to be.
It's finding, I think a lot of us introverts, because I always say I'm an introvert, extrovert, and I think we can relate to that. Like when I was in corporate world, I never wanted to give up and give a speech. I was just terrified. But when you find your passion and something meaningful and knowing that you're helping other people, it makes you feel good. Like you said, that fear just kind of goes away.
Yep.
And you just go with it and you start talking and it's amazing. It's just the most amazing feeling. So I understand what you mean by that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, and ever since then, so I don't know how many years has that been now, since 2018.
Yeah.
It's just, I just take it as it comes. You know, I just put it out there, put it into the universe. I'm here.
You're
Yeah.
like, woo! Yes, I think that's amazing. So, um, this is always like a high level question, and some people are like, I don't know how to answer this. So, what divine adventures have you experienced on your soul pathway?
Oh, I love this question. That's a really good question, Bobby. That is a really good question.
Thank you.
Very good question. I thought, wow, I never thought of it that way before. And this is for me, this is what the divine adventure, if I can verbalize this correctly, for me, my divine adventures are like this. They start out with something really difficult happening to me, a huge challenge that has been put in my path that I need to work through. And I'm going to use kind of what we've already been talking about. Um, I don't like with my childhood trauma. I don't think I would be the person I am today had that not happened to me. Um, Through that childhood trauma, without even realizing it back then, I developed survival skills around walking into a room and being able to read the room immediately, being able to read people's body language immediately, their facial expressions immediately, their tone of voice immediately. And that's all energy, right? That's all reading energy.
Yep.
And I was able to do that since I was a little child. Um, that was a survival skill that I realized, I just do it naturally now because that's just what I did when I was a child. But my divine adventure, I think that challenge for me in childhood lined me up for the divine adventure of realizing energy work. and how I can help other people. When I started in 2018, it was around energy sound therapy. Since then, it has grown into these other modalities and studying and realizing what we can do with energy on our own. Um, what our environment actually is made of is energy, and that has really become a passion to me. So my divine adventure, I think, for me, the challenges early in my life lined me up for the my divine adventure now, which I think what I'm doing, my business and talking to people and helping people, um, is my divine adventure. And I don't think I would be having this divine adventure if I did not have that challenge in my childhood. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense, and I love that perspective because a lot of people have had childhood trauma and they don't know how to deal with it, or they don't know how to take it and catalyst it into something greater than themselves for good. And
Mhm.
you have been able to do that, and I think that is amazing. And you channeled it, you took it, and then you created a way to help others get through it.
And I think um, I completely lost my train of thought. Gosh darn it. I hate
It
when that
happens all
happens
the
to me
time.
on a podcast. Oh, I don't like when that happens to me on a podcast. But um, oh, I know. With the trauma and taking that and turning it into this divine adventure thing, really does fit for me. That felt like when I answered that question, I'm like, that's what it is for me. It starts out as a huge challenge, but then at the end, there's this divine adventure that it turns into.
Yeah.
And I think that there is occasion, and I think this is normal or natural. Who would I have been without that trauma?
Mhm.
If that trauma didn't happen to me, I know I wouldn't be doing this. I don't think I'd be doing this, and not in the way I do it. If I did do it, it wouldn't be in the way I'm doing. And I think I have this unique, and everybody comes to energy work with their own personal experiences, and they all have their own unique approach and their own unique energy, which is what's so wonderful about energy work. But I think I bring that unique perspective because of my personal experience, um,
Mhm.
w- um, with my life experience when I was a kid. But I do think about that every once in a while, like, who would I have been if that didn't happen to me? Where would I be today? But I'm okay with that because I like where I'm at. I think I've met amazing people. I've had amazing experiences. I mean, the people I've met doing energy work has just been, I never would have met those people, and I am so grateful I did. So, yeah.
I think a lot of us end up in the energy work field, regardless of the modality, because of trauma that has happened to us in the past, and wanting to use it as that catalyst to do something better, versus just blaming the world for what happened. And I think about sometimes there's like stars, like, or actors and actresses that have just been through, they give their life story of before they got to be famous, of what they went through, and they used it for good. And that's exactly what we're doing in the energy work field. So that hands down, I mean, applause to you. And I think that is so wonderful that you were able to do that. Because what you bring to the Green Bay area is not something that we have a lot of here. And I think it's very special. But before we kind of touch on that a little bit more, you talked about, you started with the energy sound frequency therapy, but it's led to some other different modalities. You want to kind of touch base on the other things that you've branched off to?
Sure. And it kind of goes, it's a nice fit with the energy sound frequency therapy. It's through Discover Healing. Dr. Bradley Nelson, he has created the emotion code, body code, and belief code. And there are three different levels certifications. The emotion code is the first one. And you can pick up the book. He's got a emotion code book he's written. Anybody can read the book and learn how to do this. And I think it's a very powerful tool for anybody to be able to do. Um, but Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. The second level is Body Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson as well. That's his second level certification. Again, just reading the book, you're able to understand it and use it on yourself and your family. Um, there's also a certification course you can take that will give you more information, more in depth information. You will become certified, and then you can work on anybody you want to. If if you wanted to start your own business or what have you. But emotion code, the first level certification, also releases trapped emotions, inherited emotions, heart walls, etc. Um, but does it in a different way. It releases it by running a magnet down the governing meridian. But again, it's usually muscle testing as well. So again, that's releasing trapped emotions and inherited emotions and heart walls, like I said. The second level certification is body code. That goes a little bit deeper. That you're actually energetically, you're also identifying imbalances in the body. And imbalances can be imbalances in organs and chakras. You can identify energetic toxins that are locked in the body, trapped in the body. I mean, it's very extensive. It goes more into the body's structure with the organs and the ligaments and the muscles and the different systems of the body, the circuits and systems of the body. You can energetically rebalance and realign. The third level certification is belief code, and that has to do with the subconsciously held belief systems that we create. Usually, all of our negative belief systems are created by about age 7 or 8, and they affect us for the rest of our lives. They say like over 90% of what we do is run by the subconscious mind. If we got negative belief systems, um, in the subconscious, we can release those with the belief codes. We can identify and release them with belief code. And again, that's using muscle testing. So it's the body telling us what's going on, not me guessing or consciously asking you your conscious mind questions. It's the body actually telling us what it is. And our bodies are wicked smart if we listen to them. Our body is always talking to us. We just have to learn how to listen to it. And muscle testing is one way to do that. So it's fascinating because we can have trapped emotions that, and heart walls too, and inherited trapped emotions from our ancestors as well, that can actually cause physical discomfort in our body, physical imbalances in our body. And we're able to dig into those with emotion code, body code, and belief code, using those three modalities to help release those layers off. So,
Okay. So is the session kind of like the energy sound frequency therapy session, or is there different things that happen instead, or?
the muscle testing is the same, but
Okay.
what I do with the codes is I actually go through and I'm using like a map, and muscle testing through the map and drilling down through the map. When I'm muscle testing, the body is actually leading me with the muscle testing through the map to let me know, okay, this is an imbalance that needs to be cleared. And then the way we clear the imbalance or realign something is by running the magnet down the governing meridian. So it's not you're not laying on a massage table.
Okay.
If it's an in-person session, you're sitting in a chair next to me. Yeah.
So
And
that's a little different. Yeah.
it is you're in a chair next to me. It usually doesn't take as long as a sound therapy session. Usually 30 minutes to 45 minutes is the length that it'll go with one of the code sessions. And again, the body will only release so much in one session. And again, sometimes depending, it can release the whole issue. It only releases part of it. Again, it's up to the client to say, yeah, you know what, on a scale from 9 to 10, my shoulder, or from 9 to 10, from 0 to 10, I came in, my shoulder was 10 being really, really, really sore. Um, was about a 9. After the session, it was about a 4. And it's still about a 4 or 5. So can we check it again and see if there's anything left in there to bring it down even more. So that's just an example of how somebody would gauge that.
Okay.
But yeah.
That is amazing. So, uh, I think we kind of touched on this, so I'm going to just combine these questions, two questions into one, is because I think they kind of mean the same thing. Like, what does your business mean to you spiritually, and how it has set you apart from other modalities?
Spiritually. Um, wow, that's a huge question actually. Since I've started doing energy work in 2018, I would have to say my mindfulness and my awareness of my environment around me, specifically the things that we don't see, has become very evident to me. Because I think there's a world that obviously we pick up with our senses, that there's a world that we pick up with our senses, and there's a world that we don't pick up with our senses. Basically intuition, I'm talking about like intuition. Specifically, my intuition has grown quite a bit since I started energy work. um, I think that has become a lot sharper. Meditation, I never meditated before. I've started meditating over the last couple of years. Meditation has been a huge tool for me, just to shut my mind off and to just settle in. That's helped a lot with my anxiety. That came about, I feel, through running my business. Reason being is because my empathy has gotten stronger as well. The more people I see, the longer I do energy work. I've always been an empath, but it has gotten a lot stronger in the last couple of years, which for me means I have to take care of myself more.
Mhm.
Things are hitting me differently. And I think that's because I'm becoming more aware of energy and how energy works and how it affects me personally. So, on a spiritual level, I think there's several different aspects to that for me. One is taking really listening to my own body when when it's trying to talk to me, um,
Mhm.
and also my intuition has grown a lot too. I do believe in intuition. I think intuition is for me, intuition is creator or God or whatever guiding me. I'm being guided through my intuition, and that has gotten a lot stronger. And what was the second question?
So what it means to you spiritually and kind of what like so we can finish that too, and then like what sets your business apart? Because I know in Green Bay, I shouldn't say I know, but you the first time I'd ever met you and we talked, I had never heard of this before. So I think that's kind of what sets it apart in this area because I don't know many people who do this.
um, it's growing. Like, it's
Yeah.
it's growing. When I started in 2018, there weren't a lot of people. Wasn't very well known, but it's getting out there more so now since then. Um, for the Green Bay area, what does it mean for the Green Bay area? Well, I think the Green Bay area and the Fox River and the Fox Valley, the surrounding areas in Green Bay, have a wonderful network of people that do holistic modalities. And I've met amazing people that whose I don't want to call it mission or goal, but who have a similar drive or reason for doing this that I do. And I just think that that group that I've been introduced to is wonderful in that they work together to help people, which I love. Because I don't have all the answers. I have sent clients to other people that do other modalities from me. I think the more tools you have in your toolbox, the better. And I really enjoy working with other practitioners and other energy workers and other holistic practitioners. I think together we're truly a powerful network of people to be able to help people. Um, so I think that's what I don't want to say that's what is unique about me, but I feel like I'm just one spoke in the wheel.
Yeah,
Um,
I love how you say that one spoke in the wheel because
mhm,
and there are so many different modalities, and I do feel in this area we are very good at all working together. To if they come to me for Reiki and it's not working, and then I would, go to Michelle, for some sound therapy. And, we're really good about wanting the main focus is helping that person heal themselves. It's not about us, it's helping them.
right.
And you don't always see that, but I think that we have a really good community of spiritual healers that believe in that, and that's
Mhm.
why they're in it. So,
And one thing I
out.
really, one
Go
thing I
ahead.
really, one of the things I really coach my clients on is I give them tools that they can use on themselves outside of the sessions, to just help them through their day to day. Life happens, right? Every day life happens, and I educate them on energy and how they can do energy work on themselves, and because I want to empower them to be able to feel better and ground themselves and get through their day without, calling me up and say, Michelle, I got to get into you right away. Something happened. Well, that's fine. You can do that too. But hey, let's give you some tools to see if you can't just, I want to empower my clients too. So
Right,
that's another
right. What are I don't know if you can give example of what are some of the tools that you give clients to use?
thing. Mainly what I tell them is I give them, because grounding is so important. Grounding our energy is so very important. A lot of us aren't grounded, and a lot of us um, go through our day just kind of on automatic pilot, and we kind of get swept up in the things that are happening to us, or swept up in the things that we need to take care of. And along the way, if it's stressful, if it's hurried, if it's kind of chaotic, our energies can become ungrounded, which basically is um, we're not grounded to the earth. There's an
Yep.
electric current that runs through the earth, and there's an electric current that runs through our body, and our electric current that runs through our body wants to be connected to the earth. So when we're not centered, we're not feeling centered, and we're feeling stressed and flighty and brain fog, we need to ground. So I'll explain that to the client, and there's several different ways you can ground, and I'll give them different ideas on how to ground. That's one of the main things I give them. And the other thing I tell them too is and this doesn't always happen all at once. It's amazing. It takes practice to incorporate these tools, because we just haven't been taught this stuff. Um, I think if we taught our little, in school, if this was part of the curriculum when they were little, I think we'd live in a very different world. If we learned about energy and how our bodies move through the world, and how we, well, that's a whole other podcast. But one of the other things I do is I tell them, be aware of what you're thinking. A lot of times we're thinking about something that happened weeks ago. Be where your feet are, be in the present moment, and ground. And that a
Mhm.
lot of times is half the battle. So I teach them about grounding, and then I kind of start them thinking about what they're thinking about. Like when you're, stressed out, when you're, just brain fog, what are you thinking about? Where are your thoughts running? Because they say that we think the same thoughts I think it's like over 80% of our thoughts are the same day in and day out, day in and. Well, what are those thoughts?
Mhm.
And then the other thing is a gratitude practice, and really looking around and taking inventory of what I really should be grateful for, not taking things for granted, and how much abundance we actually have around us. And that's just like shifting our vibration into a higher gear, a higher vibration, by just realizing what's truly important, being in the present moment, um, being grateful, and seeing all the abundance around us. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of
Okay.
talking to people about, hey, what are you thinking about all day long? What's the recording in
Right.
your head? So
That's cool. It's kind of like you talked about the power of the mind, right? And the
mhm,
emotions that we're experiencing and how to harness that. So I think
right,
that's really
exactly.
cool. So outside of doing these sessions, do you offer classes to help educate people? Do you do any kind of other things?
I do actually, and this is a little bit of a new thing for me, and it was requested by a couple of my clients that don't even know each other.
Oh, that's awesome.
Synchronicity again. They had, because I do a lot of coaching in my one-on-one sessions. I do a lot of coaching. I do a lot of conversation with the client. Outside of my sessions, I'm always educating myself on different tools that I can try myself. I don't recommend anything to anyone that I haven't already done on myself, and how I feel about it. So I'm my own guinea pig. So there's in the sessions, there's a lot of talking, there's a lot of education around energy and what you can do on a day-to-day basis. And a couple of my clients said, all the coaching you do in your sessions, could you make a class with that and offer it as a class? Because it would be a great refresher for people to be able to say, oh, Michelle has this class on this. I could really use a refresher on that. I'm going to jump in her
Mhm.
class. So, yeah, actually, in October, I held a class around energy, just basically what energy is. And it was like an intro to energy, basically, because that's a wide, broad, deep subject.
Yes.
It can go in a lot of different areas. So it was just an intro. But there will be more classes. I'm actually working on more classes for the beginning of next year. So
Oh. Um,
I will keep everybody posted. I mean, watch my website, watch my Facebook page, because I will be advertising those coming in the new year. Mhm.
Awesome. And I know I have your website information. I have your Facebook page information. I have your YouTube page information. So we will post all that at the end of the video for people to contact you. Is there, is there a specific place that you teach out of, or is it just different local businesses around town, or?
Yeah, right now it is Runic Apothecary on
Okay,
Willard. That's where I have held my class in October. Um,
okay.
and that is probably where I'm going to hold them next year. But who knows? I mean, if I
Right.
don't have it at Runic, it will be on the class announcement where
Yeah,
it will be.
it'll be somewhere around the areas and
It
people
will be.
can find it. I think that's amazing. So
Mhm.
I think that's awesome that you're doing classes. What else? I know that you, do people, are you, don't, you work full time, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so you do this on people just need to call you and they schedule you. So
Right.
what are your future goals for this business? That's always exciting for me because, I've been there, done that, like I was working full time and then I had a goal. So.
My future goals for the business. Um, oh my goodness. I have really, it is reaching as many people as possible with this information. Like I had said before, if this type of information around energy and learning to listen to our bodies would be taught when the kids are young, or even if parents knew it and taught it, it was just a natural part of their household. I think the children would grow up to be much different adults. So my goal really is to educate as many people as possible. I would like to um, somehow reach the little kids, but I know you need to probably reach the parents first and then have the parents engage with the children. So really my I think where I'm going with this is just educating as many people as possible and maybe having that ripple effect down to the kids and being able to teach children. Because
Yeah.
children are so wide open. I love little kids are just so wide open to all of this. And yeah, that's really where it is because I think we can change the world. My own opinion, I think we can change the world by just um, educating people on how energy works and
I totally agree.
how
Mhm.
powerful energy is and how everything is energy from the words we speak to the thoughts we have. It's like people don't think about that words carry an energy. And we just came
Mhm.
off a very interesting political cycle here in the United States. And I'll tell you, I didn't have the news on for quite some time. I actually don't really have the news on ever, but um, when I can't get away from it, if it's on where I'm at and it's on, it's interesting to feel the energy when
Mhm.
they're doing their thing in
Yes.
the news. So just educating people with that and just yeah, I think that's very important.
I always love when I do and when I teach the Reiki and I was like, we're all made of energy. Like we look solid, but we're made of energy, just like the bed that you're laying on or the pillow, like it's all the same.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, I love how you bring to the forefront that our thoughts and our emotions also have energy, and our words have an extreme amount of energy in the way
Yeah.
they come across. So, and it's so very important. And I wish it was taught, or like you said, it's reaching out to those parents first and getting them educated, and then reaching out to the kids. So,
Right.
um, this has been wonderful. So, um, are there specific hours and days that you're available, or is it just people just contact you and you schedule with
Yep.
them?
They can text me or
Okay.
reach out to me through my Facebook. They can leave a message on, or not my Facebook. Well, yeah, Facebook too. They can Facebook message me. They can text me. They can leave me a message on my website. That all gets back to me. If they want to set up a time, I prefer to reach out to me instead of scheduling online because my schedule is very fluctuates quite a bit. But I see people at nights during the week after 5 p.m. and on Saturdays.
Awesome. So, before we wrap it up, is there just, I don't know, anything that we didn't cover that you want everyone viewing this to know?
Oh, I don't we covered a lot of ground. I think we
We
you
did.
know, we did. If you're I just want to say if you are, struggling to if you're working on a challenge and you're not quite sure where to go, I mean, check out energy work. There's a lot out there, and there's 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 a lot of healing that can happen with energy work.
Mhm.
And if it resonates with you, if it's something you want to try, be open to it. If you decide to do it, you need to be open to it. When I tried it, I was rock bottom, pretty much rock bottom. I was willing to try anything. So, but if you do decide to do the holistic energy work type, trying something out like that, be open to it. Just be open to it and give it a chance. So,
I think that's a very important point, and I'm glad you brought that up because, um, some people have come into sessions, the sessions that that I've done, and sometimes I feel people come in just to prove that it doesn't work. And I'm like, if you're not open to it, no, you probably won't feel any different, even though the energy's still working,
yeah,
but you have to be open to it. It's not it's not a medical thing. It is inner deep energy work. So, you
right.
can't see it because it's on the inside.
Right, and I have free consultations. For new clients, I have a free consultation, and I'll come in and
Awesome.
I'll speak with them. I'll explain everything that we do, that I do, and why it works. But I also make sure I tell them, if you're not open to it, I
Mhm.
wouldn't try it, because I would consider not trying it, because you're not going to get the. It's possible you're not going to get the results you're looking for if you're
Yep.
not open to it. So I'm very honest with them, and I just tell them, you need to be open to it.
Good
Um,
for you.
yeah. But the free consultations are free, and they can ask me any questions that they want to ask me. Um,
Okay.
so yeah,
I love that you do the free consultations. So, we will going to be wrapping this up. Again, at the end of this, when I post it, we will have all the information on how to contact you. And I want to just thank Michelle Poole again from Reclaim Balance LLC in Green Bay, Wisconsin, for joining us today and explaining all about the business. I think it's wonderful. I've known Michelle, I don't know, has it been at least a year, maybe a
yeah.
little longer?
I'm not sure when I met you. It's been a
Oh,
year or
I know
two.
we're back to Runic, right? That's all I know. And she does amazing work, and I've run into people that have used her services. I haven't personally myself done yet, but it's on my list to do. So I can't wait to experience it myself. And thank you for taking the time to join us today for this podcast.
Thank you for having me, Bobby. It's fun.
You're welcome.
Thank you so
Take
much.
care.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.